So for this video on connection and relationship, my goal is that you get to understand why connection and relationship is the first step to teaching and learning. And of course, that will help you to understand how to build connection and relationship with your students. And I'm going to start with this very quick thing. Students do not learn from people they have not connected with. Remember, the flow for us for every of this lesson is pause, reflect, write, and of course compare with my thinking. Very quickly, think of a teacher you learned deeply from in the past. What experience made the learning different with them? Feel free to pause this video, reflect, and write. All you need to do is to write 3 short reasons. You don't need to write what they taught. What I want to see is how they made you feel. When we remember great teachers, we rarely remember their slides or the things that they taught exactly. What we remember is the fact that we felt seen, we felt supported, and we felt some kind of safety with them, learning with them. When it comes to connection, your job is to understand that students do not learn from teachers they haven't connected with. And so what that means is, if your job is to help your students learn, that means that your first job is actually connection. What do you think connection means in a teaching concept? Again, write freely, you don't need to overthink it. One paragraph or one or bullet points, just tell me, what does connection mean to you? And here's how we think about it. When you're thinking connection, it's always better to think about what connection is not, right? And I'm going to list a few things that connection is not. Connection is not being funny. It is not being overly friendly. It is not lowering your standards. It is not even being entertaining. Think of connection as understanding the reality of your learners and teaching or working within that reality, not outside it. Okay, there are different ways that you could think of this, but first of all, let us still frame connection in 2 other words. There's trust. Okay, you can only connect with someone when they have trusted you. Psychological safety. If someone feels safe with you, if a child feels safe with you, then they can connect with you. And of course, the consistency that's involved in connection. How does a student know that they can trust a teacher? We're going to take each of these one after the other, from trust to psychological safety, and of course the consistency. I want you to pause this video, and while you're thinking, think about the actions, the language, the behavior of the teacher. How does a student know that they can trust a teacher? Students trust teachers who are prepared, predictable, and fair. When you're talking about prepared, we're talking about every single thing about your lesson. Students want to see that you put in effort to make the learning experience unforgettable. And they want to see that you're a professional. That's where it starts from. You coming to a class prepared shows some level of integrity for the profession. And so as a teacher, you want to actually protect that integrity by ensuring that you prepare for all of your classes. Students also trust teachers who are predictable. Predictability here means setting clear standards and sticking to those standards and ensuring that you follow through on those standards as much as possible. And students also trust teachers that are fair. Fair here means no humiliation. You really do not have any need to humiliate a child. And of course, minimum sarcasm, because a lot of times things can be easily misinterpreted in the classroom setting. So you want to ensure that at every point in time you show fairness among the students. What makes a student, talking about psychological safety now, what makes a student afraid to speak in class, or basically just afraid of your classroom environment? And while you're pausing this video, think about past experiences, think about teacher behavior, or even the tone of your teacher. And here's what I think: learning requires a lot of mistakes and errors. We do not learn by being perfect. We learn by making mistakes. One of the ways that children can feel safe around us is when they understand that making mistake is part of the learning process, and that you as a teacher appreciate to see or walk through their mistakes with them. Children should actually feel safe to make mistakes around you, and you as a teacher should not overreact to mistakes. That's what gives psychological safety for kids and for children. Then there's consistency. You can see consistency in a lot of ways. In order to build a connection with students, you have to be consistent. Consistent in your routine, consistent in your tone, consistent in your expectations, in your feedback style. So you see, it involves a lot. And connection is not something you build once. Connection is, you see, we use the term build, the verb build. That means it's something you do over time, right? But I want you to know that connection is the most important aspect of connection is what you do within the first 10 minutes of your lesson, or the first 10 minutes that you meet a child. So my question to you is, what do you do in the first 10 minutes of a lesson to build connection? Remember to prompt, to pause, and to think, reflect, write, and of course, compare with my thinking. What do you do in the first 10 minutes of a lesson to build connection? And I've been able to summarize this with 2 words, which is listen and prompt interaction. A child wants to actually see that you can hear them and you understand them, you feel them. And so when it comes to building connection within the first 10 minutes of your class, you want to listen and prompt interaction. Of course, listening, what are you listening to? It has to be interactions that you prompt, okay? And I'm sure a lot of kids are tired of how was your day, or how was school today? Or you're meeting a child for the first time and the first question is, oh, what is your name? Or tell me about yourself. You want to actually be as creative as possible to get your learners to want to have interaction with you. And don't forget, the level of the interaction also matters the age and age bracket of the child you're interacting with. So you cannot meet a child, a teenager, and you want to build connection with them, and you want to use questions as simple as how was your day to build connection. So you want to prompt questions, you want to use questions, you want to use games. Games are also good ways to get a child to feel you. Your job here is to make a child happy and comfortable, able to trust that you are capable of taking care of their emotional well-being. So it starts from you being able to connect with them, being able to meet them where they are. And you cannot meet a child where they are if you haven't had interactions with them. So very good interaction pointers could be assessments, games, polls, different things, questions that actually prompts the child to want to talk. And your job at this point is to listen and actually engage further. Remember, one last thing I want you to remember is students don't need friends. They need mentors and guides, which are like adults who are firm, relatable, and knowledgeable. Also, there are moments when connections needs to be repaired. I've been in an instance before where a student reported a teacher, right, saying the teacher does not like them, and they have grown to not like the teacher as well. There are instances where connection is broken, relationship is broken, right? And what you get in such instances is rebellion. You see a child rebel against you as a teacher, intentionally want to drag with you in front of other students. Students become rebellious and defiant. In such instances, what do? Number one, you want to learn to acknowledge mistakes privately, right? Acknowledge that there's something you could have done better that you did not do. Acknowledge that you understand that there's something you missed, right? Have calm conversations, irrespective of the age of the child. And of course, use that opportunity to reset expectations. These are ways that you can rebuild connection. In our next video, we're going to be talking about the most important foundation for online tutoring, which is subject knowledge, and you want to actually see it.